everybody is having a great day. Today we're just going to go ahead and jump right into a practice. It's going to be just, I suppose, a general, all levels, fun practice today. So we will begin flat on our backs. So making our way there. Oh my goodness. Rolling all the way down, keeping the bottoms of our feet though pressing into the mat. So our knees are up towards the ceiling. And we'll take that moment here at the beginning of our practice to check in with our posture, making sure our back is nice and melted into the mat, shoulder blades evenly pressing in, the backs of our hips also pressing in as evenly as we can get them to, and taking a moment or two here to also check in with our breathing, making sure that we're taking those nice big inhales and complete exhales. And setting that intention here that we'll do our best to keep taking those nice big full inhales and complete exhales as we move throughout our practice today. Making sure that even when we're holding certain positions that we are doing our best to make sure that we are not holding our breath. Feeling that expansion in our chest and belly as we inhale in completely. And exhale completely with each breath cycle that we take. And the next time we come into an inhale, we'll send our arms up overhead and exhale, drawing our knees in towards our chest, bringing the palms of our hands to our knees. As we inhale and pressing those knees away from our chest slightly, exhale, drawing the knees back in. Repeating that motion here a few times, following your own breath, your own pace. Inhaling as we straighten those elbows, sending the knees away slightly. Exhale, bringing those knees back in. And the next time we find ourselves with our knees drawn in towards our chest, we'll bring the palms of our hands to the backs of our thighs. And as we inhale in, sending both of our feet up towards the ceiling, straightening those knees as much as we can. We're just warming up, so it might not be very far. Exhale, bringing those feet back down, bending at the knees. Inhale as we send the knees up, maybe pointing the toes this time. Exhale, bringing those feet back down. Inhale again, sending those feet up, maybe this time flexing the toes towards the forehead. Exhale as we bring them down. On this next one, as we inhale, and we'll send those feet up and we'll hold there, making sure we're still breathing, maybe rolling out the ankles a little bit, pointing and flexing the toes. Still breathing, and then finding that moment of pause here and bringing both of our hands to the back of the left thigh. We'll take a big inhale in. And as we exhale, sending that right leg down nice and slow till it's resting comfortably on the mat. So we have that right leg out straight on the ground and this left leg out as straight as we can get it up here in the air. And again, maybe rolling out that left ankle, making sure we go both directions if we do. And then pointing and flexing the toe a few times here. We'll take one more big inhale in, and as we exhale, drawing that left knee back in towards our chest, and then bringing the palm of our hand towards the inside of that left knee. As we inhale and setting that left knee off to the left side, opening up to that left hip crease. Exhale, bringing that left knee back to center. Inhale, opening up, setting that left knee off, maybe seeing if we'd like to straighten that left leg. Exhale, bending that knee. And then bringing that knee back to center. This time as we inhale and setting that left knee off and then straightening that left leg, we'll hold here for just a little bit. Still remembering to take those big inhales, complete exhales, grounding through that right sit bone here. And exhale, bringing that left knee, bending that left knee, bringing that left knee back to center. This time keeping that knee bent as we inhale and setting that left knee off to the left side. And as we exhale, bringing that left knee up over through center and onto the floor in front of us on the right side. And coming all the way onto our right side here to begin. Right knee down on the ground. And then once here, offering that right hand to the outside of that right knee. And as we inhale and opening up through that left shoulder here, still trying to keep that right knee on the ground, which might mean that that left shoulder doesn't really go all that far, or it might not touch the mat. That's perfectly fine. If you don't like that dangly arm feeling, we can always offer that left hand onto our rib cage here, taking those big inhales and complete exhales, getting a nice twist here. And as we come into our next inhale, we'll come back onto that right side and then rolling all the way onto our belly. Bringing our underarms, our chest onto the floor, our palms right underneath our underarms, elbows tucking in towards each other. And to start, our forehead is melting into the mat, the tops of our feet also pressing into the mat. And we'll bring our legs as close into each other as we can get that, maybe having the balls of our feet touching there, those big toes if we can. And as we inhale in, we'll use our back muscles to lift us up off the mat slightly, sending our gaze just maybe an inch or two out in front of us. And as we exhale, coming down, bringing our forehead to the mat. So really when we do this, as we lift up, focus on drawing our shoulder blades. Imagine if you could pinch those bottoms of our shoulder blades together so the tops of our shoulder blades kind of open up and you get that little heart in your back body there. So looking for that back heart alignment. Again, as we inhale in, lifting ourselves up, and exhale, bringing our forehead back down to the mat. So one more time. Big inhale in, lifting up here, coming into that cobra, pressing our tops of the feet into the mat, holding here but still taking those nice big inhales and complete exhales. And exhale, melting down, bringing our forehead back to the mat. This time we'll roll on to our left side. I'm going to turn around so you can see me. Coming on to our left side here, and then keeping that left leg stretched out long down the mat, and bringing our right knee in here in front of us, bending that right knee, bringing it onto the floor here in front of us on our left side. And as we inhale in, opening up through that right shoulder, again, trying to keep that right knee pressing into the mat, offering that left hand to the outside of that right knee. And if that right arm just kind of hanging out here feels uncomfortable, we can offer that right hand onto our rib cage, taking those big inhales and complete exhales. And when we come into that next inhale, we'll bring ourselves onto our back here, keeping this right knee drawn in, left leg out long. And as we inhale and sending that right knee off to the right side, exhale, right knee back to center. Inhaling in, sending that right knee off to the right side, perhaps straightening that right leg. It feels good to do so. Exhale, bending that right knee, and then bringing the knee back to center. This time, as we inhale and sending that right knee off to the right side, and straightening if it feels good, we'll hold here for just a little bit, taking those big inhales and complete exhales. And exhale, bending that right knee, and then bringing the right knee back to the center. Bringing the palms of our hands to the back of that right thigh as we inhale and straightening that right leg as much as is comfortable to do. Maybe rolling out that right foot, making sure we go both directions if we do choose to roll the ankle. And then pointing and flexing here for a few times, taking those big inhales, complete exhales. Take one more big inhale in, and as we exhale, bending that right knee, bringing that right knee in towards our chest, and drawing the left knee in to join it. Again, bringing the palms of our hands to the tops of our knees as we inhale and pressing those knees away from our body. Exhale, drawing the knees back in, and moving through this a few times here, following your own breath, your own pace. And the next time we find ourselves coming into that next inhale, we'll Press those knees all the way away until our feet are resting comfortably on the mat. And then picking a side, whichever side it feels the best to roll onto, coming onto that side, taking a breath or two here. And then inhaling in, we'll bring ourselves up, coming to a nice, comfortable, seated position. So perhaps that's coming here into our crisscross applesauce. Or perhaps you'd like to come in to that cobbler's pose if that feels more comfortable for you. If neither of those are feeling great, I would suggest bringing a blanket up under your hips. That might help you find a little bit of comfort. Wherever we are at, we'll sit up nice and straight here, pressing both of our sit bones as evenly into the mat as possible, drawing those shoulder blades down and back towards each other so the bottom points come together as the top shoulder blades kind of open up into that back heart here. Chin parallel to the floor, engaging our core here as we sit up nice and straight, taking those big inhales and complete exhales. And then relaxing our shoulders here as we inhale, and we'll send our fingertips up towards the ceiling. Exhale, bending over towards that left side, right fingertips up and over, right bicep to right ear. Inhaling in, we'll come back to center. Exhale over to the other side, right fingertips to the mat, left arm up overhead, pressing evenly through both those sit bones still. Inhaling back up through center. This time as we exhale to that left side, we'll hold here for just about a breath. On an inhale, coming back to center, and exhale over to that right side. Holding here for just about a breath. Inhaling, we'll come back to center, and as we exhale, relaxing our hands to our knees. And moving through a few seated cat-cows here as we inhale and bringing our chest forward. Gaze rises slightly up towards the ceiling. Exhale, rounding the back, sending our gaze towards the mat. Moving through this a few times, following your own breath, your own pace. And the next time we find ourselves coming through that neutral position, we'll find that moment of pause. And then taking our time, we will make our way onto our hands and knees, coming into our tabletop position. Finding our comfortable position here for our hands and knees, tops of our feet pressing into the mat, beginning with that nice straight line from the crown of our head to the tip of our tailbone. And as we inhale in, our tailbone will lift up towards the ceiling and the crown of our head will follow. Slightly exhale, rounding our back, tailbone melting towards the mat, forehead comes towards the mat as well. Moving through that a few times here. Inhaling as we lift the tailbone and crown of our head, exhale as we round the back. And the next time we find ourselves coming through that center position, we'll find that moment of pause. Taking a big inhale in here, and as we exhale, stepping our left foot up to replace our left hand, bringing that left hand to the outside of our left foot, and then curling our back toes. Inhale and shifting our weight forward, and as we exhale, straightening that left knee, sending our sit bones back towards that right heel. And moving through this a few times here dynamically, again allowing your breath to guide you. Inhale as you come to the front of the mat. Exhale as those sit bones go back. And playing around with those left toes, seeing if sometimes you'd like them to come up off the mat towards the ceiling. Perhaps sometimes you'd like to keep them planted, mixing it up or sticking with whichever one feels the best for you. And taking our time here. Exhale as we go back. Inhale as we bring ourselves forward. And the next time we find ourselves up in that front position, in our low lunge position, we'll pause there, and then uncurling our back toes and planting our right palm firmly into the mat. As we inhale in, we'll bring our chest towards that left knee, sending our left fingertips up towards the ceiling. Exhale, coming back to center. Inhaling, opening up, coming into the twist. Exhale, back to center. On this next one, as we inhale and opening up, coming into our twist, we'll hold here, making sure we're not holding our breath, still taking those big inhales and complete exhales. And exhaling, we'll come back to center. One more time, inhaling, and as we open up into that twist and holding here again. Breathing, pressing through all four corners of that left foot. And exhale, coming back to center. And then coming on to our fingertips if we need to, or staying on our palms, whatever reaches. We'll curl those back toes, take a big inhale in. And as we exhale, lifting up that back knee, stepping our back foot up far enough so we can plant that right foot completely. And walking our hands up our leg, coming to this kind of standing pose here. We'll actually pivot on that back foot, on our right foot. So our right foot is in line with the back edge of our mat, the short edge of our mat, and our front toes are pointed towards the front short edge of our mat. And keeping this a micro bend in our standing leg or in our front leg here, but straightening it as much as we can with allowing for that micro bend. And then bringing our hands to our waist. We'll take a big inhale in, and as we exhale, shifting our hips back as we kind of come into this little bit of a lateral bend here. Inhaling in as we come back up. Exhale, shifting the hips back, bending laterally to the left side. Inhale in as we come back up. And this time as we exhale, we'll come into that side bend here. And this time maybe holding for a little bit, seeing if we'd like to perhaps bring that right arm up overhead, right bicep to our ear, seeing if that left arm wants to begin to travel down our inner thigh, or perhaps towards our calf, or maybe bringing those left toes towards the mat if you can reach. Wherever we're at, we're breathing here. Nice big inhales and complete exhales. We bring those right fingertips up towards the ceiling. And then inhaling in, we'll bring ourselves back up, pivoting on that back foot. And as we exhale, stepping forward, coming to the front edge of our mat. Big inhale and sending our fingertips up towards the ceiling, biceps to ear, maybe giving a little back bend here if it feels good. Exhale, forward fold here, keeping our back nice and straight as we hinge at our hips. That back stays straight for as long as it can, and then allowing it to round at the bottom. As we inhale and coming back up just halfway to that half forward fold here. Exhale all the way down, full forward fold. And then planting our palms, stepping our toes back into that plank, and either staying up here on our toes or coming down to our knees. We'll take a big inhale in, and as we exhale, shifting our weight forward, slowly lowering ourselves down till our chest is on the mat. Uncurling those toes, forehead resting into the mat, our hands right underneath our underarms, those elbows drawing in. And as we inhale in, lifting ourselves up with those back muscles into our cobra. Exhale, forehead melting to mat. And as we inhale in, we'll press ourselves all the way up and back, coming in to a child's pose of our choosing. We can have our knees out wide, bring our knees together. We can walk our arms out overhead or make a little pillow by bringing our hands to our elbows to rest our foreheads on our forearms. Whatever feels best, I invite you to stay there for a breath or two. Those nice big inhales and complete exhales. Inhaling in, we'll bring ourselves back up, coming into our tabletop. And once in our tabletop, working our way through a few more cat-cows here. Inhaling in as our tailbone and crown of our head lift towards the ceiling. Exhale as we round our back, melting our tailbone and forehead towards the mat. Taking our time, really allowing our breath to guide this movement. And the next time we find ourselves coming through that neutral center position, we'll find that moment of pause. Taking a big inhale in, and as we exhale, stepping our right foot up to replace our right hand. Right hand comes to the outside of that right foot. And then curling our back toes as we inhale in, our weight shifts forward. And as we exhale, straightening that right knee, sending our sit bones back towards that left heel. And again, moving through this a few times here, following your own breath, your own pace, inhaling as we come to the front, exhale as we shift our weight back, and playing around with that toe position as well. Seeing as sometimes we like those toes to come up, those right toes, sometimes we like them to stay planted. Whatever feels the best, taking our time. And the next time we're coming into that inhale, so we're bringing our weight back towards the front. We'll go ahead and hold there. Then uncurling those back toes and planting our left palm now into the mat, nice and firm. As we inhale in, bringing our chest towards that right knee, right fingertips up towards the ceiling. Exhale as we come back to center. Inhale in, chest to knee, fingertips towards the ceiling. Exhale back to center. This time as we inhale and opening up, sending those fingertips towards the ceiling, we'll hold here for just a breath or two, taking those big inhales and complete exhales, pressing through the top of that left foot. Exhaling, we'll come back to center. And one more time, big inhale in as we send those right fingertips up towards the ceiling and holding here again, pressing through all four corners of that right foot. Big inhales, complete exhales. And as we exhale, coming back to center. And then we'll curl those back toes, take a big inhale in. And as we exhale, lifting that back knee up, stepping our left foot up enough to get it planted. And then we'll walk ourselves up, coming in to our standing pose. And this time it will be our left foot, our back foot still that's in line with the short edge of the mat as our right toes point towards the front edge of the mat. And then bringing our hands to our waist, remembering that micro bend, even though that right leg is straight, we still like that little bit of a micro bend there. Taking a big inhale in, and as we exhale, shifting our hips back as we come into a little bit of that lateral bend here, staying open through the chest. Inhale, coming back up. Exhale, shifting those hips back, coming into our lateral bend. Inhale, we'll come back up. And on this next time, we'll exhale as we come into that lateral bend here, and then holding here. And again, maybe bringing that left arm out overhead, left bicep to left ear. We can also send the left fingertips up towards the ceiling as that right arm kind of starts to work its way down our leg, maybe to the floor if we're there yet. If not, that's fine. Wherever we're at, we're taking those big inhales and complete exhales. And then inhaling in, we'll bring ourselves back up and pivoting on the back foot, toes towards the front of the mat. And as we exhale, stepping to the front of our mat. Big inhale in, fingertips towards the ceiling, maybe finding that little bit of a back bend. Exhale, forward fold here, allowing the back to round once we get down to the bottom. Inhale as you rise up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Planting those palms, we'll step ourselves back into that top of our plank and either staying here on our toes or coming onto our knees, wherever we feel the most comfortable. We'll take that big inhale in. And as we exhale, tucking those elbows in as we slowly lower ourselves down until we're resting comfortably on the mat. Forehead to the mat, tops of our feet now pressing into the mat. And as we inhale in, using our muscles of our back body to help lift us up into that cobra. And exhale, forehead melting to the mat. And on our next inhale, pressing ourselves all the way up and back, coming in to that child's pose of our choosing, or perhaps a different child's pose than we did before. Whatever feels best. We'll take our time there, breathing a couple of breaths. come into that next inhale, we'll slowly bring ourselves back up, coming into our cat-cow or to our tabletop again, so we can move through a few more cat-cows here. Inhaling in, tailbone, crown of our head towards the ceiling, finding that little arch in the back. Exhale, rounding the back, melting forehead and tailbone towards the mat. Tops of our feet pressing into the mat as we move, taking our time. And the next time we find ourselves coming through that central position, we'll find that moment of pause. And then crossing our ankles, we'll press ourselves back, coming into a seated position. We'll be working in stack pose a little bit here. So if you have a blanket near you and you feel that might help you find a little bit of comfort in this pose, I would invite you to grab that. I'm going to bring mine up to put underneath my hips. So we'll send our legs out long in front of us, keeping our toes flexed up towards the ceiling and our legs together as much as possible, or we can really actually have them hip distance apart, whatever feels the best for you. And you'll notice right now my knees are nice and straight, but if you can see in my back is a bit rounded. So what I'm going to do in my back body is look for that back heart alignment that we talked about a little bit earlier. So drawing those bottom points of our shoulder blades down together as the tops of our shoulder blades open up, making that heart. So I'm going to do that by rolling my shoulders forward, up and back, sitting up nice and tall here, and bringing my fingertips down, or the palms down to the mat, whatever reaches. You'll notice as I did that, my knees bent. That was perfectly fine. Really finding that nice posture through the back body is the goal here in this pose today, how we're doing it more so than having those straight knees. The core is engaged here, our core is working, our legs are working, our back is working, so much is working to keep us sitting here nice and straight. Remembering as we're sitting here to take those big inhales, complete exhales, crown of our head is lifting towards the ceiling, breathing here, taking one more big inhale in, and exhale, relaxing, maybe shaking it out. And then bending those knees as much as we need to, again, to find that nice posture through the back body, relaxing our shoulders just slightly though, so we get that full range of motion as we inhale and sending our fingertips up towards the ceiling. And as we exhale, forward fold here, hinging at the hips, keeping our back as straight as we can until we can no longer keep it straight, and then allowing it to round over here at the bottom. Again, really having that nice generous bend in the knees if needed. Perhaps once we're here, we can kind of walk the heels out a little bit more if we do have a bent knee. See if we can get that nice stretch through the back of our legs. Taking those big inhales, complete exhales. And then inhaling in, we'll bring ourselves back up. And then crossing those legs, coming into a comfortable seated position. Again, maybe keeping that blanket underneath our hips if it feels good. And then bringing our hands to our knees. Again, we can have this crisscross applesauce, or we can always open up into our cobblers, whatever feels the best. We're just going to work through a few seated cat-cows here before we roll down onto our back. So as we inhale and bringing our chest forward, sending our gaze slightly towards the ceiling. Exhale as we round our back, making sure we're rounding, starting from the tailbone, and then working through the upper back. Inhale, coming back into our cow or seated cow, and exhaling into cat. Moving through this a few times, following your own breath, your own pace. And then next time we're coming through that neutral, that center position with our spinal column, we'll find that moment of pause. And then making our way onto our back. From here, centering our sit bones on our mat, and then slowly melting ourselves back. Again, keeping the palms of our feet pressing into the mat, knees up towards the ceiling, taking a moment or two here, centering ourselves, finding our posture on the mat. And we come into that next inhale, sending our arms up overhead. Exhale as we draw our knees back in towards our chest, bringing the palms of our hands to our knees. As we inhale and pressing the knees away from our body. Exhale, drawing the knees back in, just slightly here. Taking our time, again allowing our breath to guide us here. And the next time we come into an inhale, we'll keep pressing those knees all the way away till the palms of our feet are resting comfortably on the mat and bringing our hands down to our sides. As we inhale and lifting our hips up towards the ceiling, as we send our arms up overhead. Exhale as our hips melt back down towards the mat, our hands returning to our sides. Inhaling in as our hips go up, arms up overhead. Exhale, resting our hips back down to the mat as we return our hands to our sides. One more time, inhaling in, hips up, arms up overhead, biceps to ears. And exhale as we melt everything back down towards the mat, onto the mat. This time on the inhale, sending just the arms up overhead, biceps to ears. And exhale, knees back in towards our chest, palms of our hands to our knees. And as we inhale and pressing the knees away from our body slightly, exhale, drawing them back in. On our next inhale, as the knees are moving slightly away from our body, we'll send our arms up overhead. Exhale, knees come back in, hands return to knees. Moving through this a few times. And then deciding if this is where you feel most comfortable for this movement today. And if that is so, I invite you to stay here. The other option is to, as we inhale, sending the feet up towards the ceiling as the arms go up overhead. Exhale, knees come back in, hands return to our knees. So whichever option we are choosing, we'll move through this just a few times here, taking those big inhales and complete exhales. Wherever we are at, let's do one more big inhale, and as we open up, and exhale, drawing everything back to center. Knees are back in, palms of our hands to our knees. Moving through a few more Apanasana here, our last movement of the practice. Inhale as the knees go away slightly. Exhale, drawing the knees back in. The next time we find ourselves coming into that inhale, we'll keep pressing those knees all the way away until our feet are resting comfortably on the mat. And now finding some comfort on the mat, whether that's keeping the feet on the mat so the knees are up towards the ceiling, or perhaps we send our legs out long, hands either resting at our sides or resting on our bellies, wherever we feel the most comfortable for our Shavasana here. I invite you to find that comfort. Once you have, we'll do a quick full body scan, seeing if there's anywhere that maybe we're holding on to a little bit of extra tension. We'll do our best to allow that tension to melt away, even if it's just for the few minutes that we're resting here today. Feeling our shoulder blades melt into the mat as we relax. Our shoulders drawing away from our ears. Relaxing our jaw, unfurrowing our brow. Allowing our tongue to move away from the roof of our mouth. And allowing our breath to return to its nice, natural resting state as we lay here breathing for the next 5 minutes or so. The video will end, but I do encourage you to continue resting here and breathing. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.